The Sound Lab, 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 the Sound Lab. Experimenting with the best new music.
Counterfeit.
Yes.
How are you?
Good, man. Really good.
Good.
A bit tired.
Yeah.
But kind of getting into the swing of tour mode, and then all of a sudden tour's finishing.
Yeah, it's one of those ones.
It's
like, you know, we're 4 shows deep now, and this is where we're like, yeah, let's do it. And you get to that point, and it's like, oh no.
And it's the end as well.
Yeah.
You just want to keep going.
Bittersweet.
Yeah, you do.
Yeah.
I do. I do. I could have a day off today, but you know.
Yeah, you need the odd day off here and there, but...
A little bit of me time, maybe a shower, nice bath, more crystals, yeah.
the joys of going on tour.
Yeah.
So the reason you're doing this tour is because you've got new music coming out, and you've released a new single.
Yeah.
It Gets Better. Tell us about the single.
So, It Gets Better. Roland and I wrote it in Los Angeles, and I think, you know, our first record was very angry. It was kind of like an immediate response to an emotion of which ultimately would be described as fear, upon further research and discovery about what it means to be here. And It Gets Better is a sort of love song, I suppose, to myself. And to the people that I've encountered and that we've encountered whilst being on the road. We get the opportunity to meet so many like amazing young people whilst doing what we do, and I see so many of them suffering in exactly the same way that I have and can suffer, and so it's a sort of reminder that whilst it certainly doesn't get easier, if you do the work and are honest and are vulnerable and are able to share in that vulnerability in time, things do get better. It's quite hopeful as a song, but kind of using buzzwords to describe a song really fucks me off. So it doesn't fuck me off. It just sort of, you know, it diminishes the value of the material. So yeah, that's kind of where it's at. It's quite poppy, I guess, in sound comparatively to the last stuff that we did.
Yeah.
Or poppier. And there's so much more that I wish I'd been able to do to it, if I'm being deadly honest. But I love it. Yeah, it's great.
Yeah. And I'm guessing this is the lead up to the next record.
Yeah.
So how is the next record sounding at the moment, and how much is done? Is it ready? What can we expect from it?
Yeah, so it's mastered and it's been mixed. We've had 2 tracks come out in the last sort of post-Christmas space, a song called The New Insane and 1144. The New Insane is kind of this weird, like, almost trap meets 9 Inch Nails meets Marilyn Manson meets just kind of something that you've never...
Peter Gabriel or something.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, Genesis. It's more, that one is very like existential, I think, in how it was created. It was a lot more exploratory in terms of feeling when it was being created. It's a lot more like ego driven than It Gets Better, which is, you know, a sort of like honest, like, look at this is what we can do. Whereas The New Insane is like, I'm fucking mental, which was an interesting place to be at. And then 1144 is like a response to the political and social landscape and climate that we find ourselves in at this current juncture in history, and how that makes me feel. And I mentioned anger earlier, but like the anger that I see me and my generation and the generation underneath me feeling when it comes to like being oppressed by like sort of systemic structures that have been in place is very prevalent, and it's kind of a big middle finger up to the idea that we people, human beings, that we've created this society, this capitalist society that does not care for the individual human aspect of what it means to be alive. Make as much money as you can, fuck over the next person in order to win. Sounds great, doesn't it? But it's a load of horseshit, because ultimately if you're left with that and humanity is taken away, then you've just killed off soul. Like, so that's that song, and that, like, sonically that song is a lot more kind of punky in its presentation. It's quite angular, I describe it as. References for that song kind of varied from again, like Manson to kind of, you know, I guess Sex Pistols to like, even like on production elements, again I went into like the idea of kind of like weird hip hop kind of production elements. It's things where I've like the vocals get like tuned down in the middle of the thing, and it just sort of leads you into that thing, and that's certainly not like a rock thing to do. Yeah, and so the album, like, it's an interesting one. It's so varied. I mean, we're still a guitar-driven rock band. Like, that's what we do, is we play music with guitars and with drums and we sing, but we've included so many more elements, I think, on this album. Like, we have a full string section in a song that we have called Paralyzed, that was written by... Your turn.
David Campbell.
David Campbell, there you go.
David Campbell.
And David's written, he wrote the strings for songs like Living is a Problem by Biffy Clyro. So, of course, like, to sort of be able to work with David on a track of ours is mad. And then we've got a song called Lack of Oxygen, which is a really, like, soft lullaby song about missing somebody. Yeah, we've just kind of gone through, I think, on this album, like, the first album was very, like, I'm hurt, I'm upset, I'm this, I'm that, I'm angry, I'm petulant, I'm a child. And then this one is a lot more kind of like, well, what is the human experience as like a whole? Like, what is it that we go through, and how do we capture that? And I think because it was written over a sort of longer period of time, we wrote it over 18 months, I think we were able to kind of capture specific moments that we were going through at that time.
Yeah, it's funny. Like, a lot of the themes are quite similar that come into this record. I think they're just viewed from a different angle and a different perspective. As you kind of learn and as you grow, or as we've learned and we've grown, been able to kind of look at the same situations in different light. And with that, it's been really interesting to kind of you know, visit those things, but with a different attitude again. So yeah, it's kind of where it's at the moment, but it is mastered.
Yeah.
It exists.
It does exist.
It exists on the cloud, online, so yeah.
When do you want it out?
If it was up to me, tomorrow.
Tonight,
Yeah. That's always the answer, though.
I think we've got plans afoot to release an EP. You're right over there. For those watching, that's our drummer Jimmy. He's just broken his knee.
As long as the drums don't sound like that on the record.
Yeah. Rob Cavallo for this. We have an EP that's going to be coming out in around April, May, with 4 tracks on it. A sort of like teaser for the record, because we've already had sort of 3 songs out. So, well, it's got 4 on it, right? Yeah, it's got 4 songs on it. 2 new ones and two ones that have been released, just to kind of package it together and say this is sort of where we're going.
Yeah.
And then a bit of context to it with a lovely video, and then we'll be looking at sort of having the album out towards the end of the year. I think, you know, when we're able to give ourselves freely to touring it and to promoting it and to doing all the good things.
Yeah. Are you looking forward to doing the whole shebang of touring and headlining and travelling and doing the works again?
I think so. I think so. Yeah. I mean, I love playing shows, and I love meeting people, and I love the experience that gives me, and the lessons that I learn from being on the road are so like paramount to growth, I think. So yeah, I am really looking forward to that. I think it will be fun, and it's funny, like I think we've only, after being a band for nearly 5 years now, I think we've only just figured out how to tour properly. Like when we first, maybe it's not everyone else, maybe it's only just me, maybe I've only just figured out how to tour properly and everyone else knew beforehand, but like when we first started, it was like, how crazy can you be, and like how wild can you get before a show, you know, and whereas with this one, it's been a lot more about like, okay, well, let's just check in and center ourselves and make sure that when we go out there, we're giving as much of like ourselves and our truth as possible, because that's what it's about, and that requires a very like personal experience. I think that requires sort of a personal reflection time and all that kind of stuff too. And the slightest thing can throw you off kilter. It's like seeing a friend can just like throw you out of it, and you're like, fuck, well, like, because you see your mate and you're like, oh my god, it's my mate, blah, blah, blah. You know, you've got all this history and they know you so well, but you've got to remember, oh, I've got to go out there and like channel something and give something out. So I need that time to like just let that happen. So I'm excited. I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, I mean, these have been the first shows of the year for us. So it's like, it's kind of, I've got that excitement in my belly. I'm feeling good about it, I think, and yeah, keen to crack on.
Yeah, absolutely. Festival season is coming up. Can we see you at any festivals this summer?
No.
Okay.
Fine. No, unfortunately not. Yeah. For reasons yet to be discovered.
I ask no more.
You ask more.
No, I ask no more.
No, you ask no more. Yes, no, please don't.
So once the album has dropped and you'll be touring, is there anywhere that you haven't toured before that you do want to go and play at some point?
Oh, so many, man. Like Australia, would love to do Australia. Asia, would love to do South America. Is a huge one. I think we've spoken about. Like Jimmy's played there a couple of times, and he's like, I need to go back. We need to play shows there, man. Like it's gonna be amazing. Yeah, like we want to get out there and just kind of spread the message as much as we can, and you know, play to as many faces and connect with as many people around the world as we can. It's kind of where we're really happy and where we're really comfortable is doing that. So to be given the opportunity to do it at all in the first place is amazing, and then but to be able to spread it is a dream, and hopefully we can make it happen.
Yeah, I'd love to do Australia. Sam and I have Australian relatives, so we'd love to go over there and do some stuff in Australia. Yeah. And where else? I mean, kind of everywhere that we haven't been. I'd love to go to Japan. Yeah. I've actually just never been to Japan, so to go to Japan and be able to play a show, it's great. It's awesome. Yeah. So I'd love to go there and do some stuff over there, and Cuba, Fiji, anywhere that's hot and nice, beach would be lovely. Somewhere up a mountain would be sick. Yeah, just kind of anywhere and everywhere. We've been fortunate enough to play a couple of shows in Russia already. Yeah. That was sick, so we'd love to go back to Russia. I'd love to do sort of more of that sort of area too. That would be killer.
So I've just interviewed a band who said they don't want to tour the hot places. They want to do all the cold ones and go up to the North Pole and perform there because they hate the warm.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, beggars can't be choosers, so we'll take what we can get.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Amazing. Well, it's been a pleasure.
Thank you.
Having a catch up with you both.
It's nice to see you.
Cheers. Thank you very much. Pleasure.
Thank you very much.
The Sound Lab, 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 the Sound Lab. Experimenting with the best new music.